What's up guys, it's the Perks of News. In this video, I'm going to explain the history behind March Madness. March Madness has become the biggest collegiate event in all of college sports. But the term March Madness wasn't even used first by college teams. It started in high school. And that term wouldn't even be associated with college till 1982. Even before the tournament starts, every team is excited to whether they will get in or not. And unfortunately, my team didn't. The first Division I men's basketball tournament was played in 1939. It only had 8 teams, and the Oregon Ducks were the first team to ever win the championship, beating Ohio State for the dub. The 8 teams in that first ever tournament were Brown, Villanova, Ohio State, Utah State, Wake Forest, Oklahoma, and Oregon. Oh, and Texas. Here's how that first bracket looks, with a whopping championship game, high scoring of 46 points. Wow, the game has changed. This tournament became more popular, and to make things more exciting, the NCAA wanted to keep growing, expanding, and added 8 more teams, making up to 16 in 1951. And then to keep things going, doubled to 32 teams in 1975. And then only 10 years later, doubled to 64 teams, what it is now, in 1985. Now let's dive into why March Madness is March Madness, the upsets. The biggest upset in March Madness history was actually not even that long ago, in 2018, where a 16 seed beat the number 1 seed. Also, that was the first time ever in March Madness history where that happened. UMBC beat Virginia 74-54. Who saw that come? And for you bettors out there, I know you made some bread because the odds on that were stupid. One of the best and most historic basketball schools on this nation, Duke, owns the largest comeback in NCAA history, and also the second largest lead blown in NCAA history. In 2001, the Blue Devils stormed back to beat Maryland down 22. And in 1989, they lost to Seton Hall, even though they're up by 18. Now, let's move on to some of the best players in NCAA history. Christian Laettner is arguably the best college basketball player to play the game, as he holds the most points scored in NCAA history, 407, and only 9 players have over 300. Notre Dame's Austin Carr is not one of those 9, but he holds the most points scored ever in a single game, with scoring 60 points. Here are those 9 athletes who managed to score over 300 points in their college careers. Shout out to Michigan, my boy Glenn Rice is on there. And one thing to note, I see that Christian Laettner has far the most points, but he also had the most games. So he could have gone all 4 years, 5 years with certain eligibility and got that. So I love to find little things to knock players out of their achievements. But nonetheless, the second most player, Elvin Hayes, only has 358, but he also had only 13 games. Gosh, he has the second least almost. I'm just looking at this chart here. It's like only 13 games. That's arguably, to me, that's more impressive than Christian Laettner with 407 with 23 games, 10 games less. That's crazy. And he was also averaging 28 points. That was in 1970. Even though 3-pointers were a thing at the time, they weren't the main leading scoring, so he was really a bucket. And here's a chart of the players who have scored the most in a single game. Comment below your favorite March Madness moment, and if your team is on one of those charts, that would be super sweet. I don't know what it is about high scoring games in the past when 3-pointers were less of the main scoring option, but in 1990, Loyola Marymount beat Michigan to have the highest scoring game in NCAA history with 149 points to 115. Come on, Wolverines, that's my team. And that was in 1990. They were just getting shredded. Now you know a little bit about some of the best players in this tournament, but also let's dive into some of the most historic schools. If you're a college basketball fan, you know the University of Kentucky is a serious contender every single year. They hold the most tournament wins with 129 and the most NCAA tournament appearances with 58. But interesting enough, out of the most prolific schools that have shown their faces and have historic wins in the tournament, out of all those schools, UCLA has the most championships with 11. And going back to Duke, their coach Mike Krzyzewski, sorry if I totally butchered that, but he has the most wins out of any single coach with 97. Hit that like button if your team is on one of these lists, as you can be proud of that. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new about March Madness, hit that like button and let me know your thoughts below. March Madness is one of my favorite sports events every year. Seeing the upsets, seeing the dominant wins, especially in those first 2 rounds. You can see some crazy blowouts, but also some insane upsets that no one saw coming. And hey, I hope all of your brackets hit. I hope someone wins out there. That your brackets would be blessed. And also comment down below who you have winning it all. I would love to see your opinions. Thanks for watching. It's the Perks and News. You guys have a good one. Peace.